Hello, and welcome to the first episode of this Let's Play of the Elder Scrolls Arena. And this is also, in fact, the first Let's Play I will be doing ever. Now, the reason I'm doing this Let's Play is I just had after watching some of Numidium 3's streams where he was playing, challenge run of Arena. I don't know, something just kind of intrigued me about it, and I was like, you know what? I feel like playing something, and I might as well play this one. The game before the game in the Elder Scrolls series that I personally enjoyed the most, that being Daggerfall. So I was like, you know what? I might as well do a Let's Play of it, I guess, because I felt like, I don't know, just feel like playing a game, but as well as making some videos about it. It makes it feel a little bit more productive in a weird way, as that sounds, in a creative sense. I wish I could just enjoy games without having to have a quote-unquote a production quota of some sort going on, but I don't know. It's very difficult for me for some reason. But also one of the main reasons I'm playing this is that I was getting many of the symptoms of burnout from the thing that I have been doing the most recently, that is trying to make mods for Daggerfall Unity. And yeah, I've just been having a lot of trouble focusing on the projects and getting motivated, so I was like, you know what? I think I need to actually play games, which I haven't done in a surprising amount of months, which is very strange, because I usually, years ago, would be playing video games hours and hours a day, but now I haven't played them, legitimately played a game in, 6 months or something straight, which was astounding to me when I thought about it. Enough of the jibber-jabber, and let's get to it, I guess. One of the things I had planned for this was, I don't know what streamer did something like this, but they basically were doing one specific character, build and everything, specific character and name and build and everything. And they're going through the entire, I guess you could call it, anthology of the Elder Scrolls games with that character. Or, trying to make that character the best they could in each one. And I was like, you know what? I think that's a good idea, because I love all the games. I love modding the games, making mods, and especially using mods. So I was like, how about I do the same thing, basically? Except in this case, instead of streaming it, I would do a kind of long-form Let's Play of them if I hopefully keep the interest to do this. But start from beginning to the very end, I suppose, if I feel like playing Skyrim at the end, but I don't know. But at least in this case, the character I wanted to play, at least in right now, in this concept, for this anthology playthrough thing, I will show you right now, and shield your eyes, because it might get bright in a moment. So, this character I was planning on using, I made up a few months ago. I had plans to do this for quite a bit, but I just finally have right now gotten to it, I guess. She would be a female wood elf. Her name is Sinia Nightlock. Nightlock just because it sounds kind of cool, and her hair is black, or as dark as you can make it, whenever games I'll be having her in. And her class would be a Deceiver, I decided to call it. Even though in every game you can't have the custom class names. I think I don't know. I think I know in Arena you can't have custom class names, at least. And these were all stuff for Daggerfall, specifically, that I made up with, so it's not really that relevant for this game and other games, most likely, but they'll be probably pretty close for the other ones. But the idea is that she would be kind of like basically like a sort of Nightblade, but with a little bit more quirks to it. Since she is a wood elf, she would be fairly naturally adept at archery, as well as stealth, and her melee fallback, or maybe, her main melee would be short blade related. She'd be fairly agile and, basic kind of archer stealth sort of thing. Not too creative, not too special then, but she would primarily be a user of support kind of magic like illusion, at least in Daggerfall's case, thaumaturgy, alteration, maybe mysticism, and basically that kind of thing. Like what you kind of expect from a Nightblade, using things to deceive her enemies as well as take advantage of quote-unquote allies, or ones that would be allies, coercing them to become allies through magic and such, manipulation, whatever. Most likely would be a fairly okay with murder, like definitely much very well at murder, basically like an assassin, Dark Brotherhood kind of character. But she'd be very intelligent and very personable, attractive. So, high personality, fairly high intelligence, moderately good agility and such stuff like that. But her other physical things like strength would be very low, endurance would probably be fairly low, speed would be like above average, willpower would be probably fairly middling. Because the whole thing is that she would be like, she would have a bonus against humanoids because she is like an assassin kind of character. And she would be the most proficient at assassinating humanoid kind of characters, as well as deceiving them. Like that, that would be her specialty. But she would have a fairly large weakness or quirk, whatever, where she would have a pretty grave phobia to the undead. Mostly from her backstory, that I kind of tried to make up one as best as I could. But because of her backstory, as well as the fact that undead are just not as, compared to humanoids, are not as easily manipulated by the kind of tactics that she employs, such as the deception, the illusion. At least in Daggerfall, they can't see through invisibility, or they can see through invisibility as well as an arena and such. They're very good against that kind of illusion magic, stealthy kind of, sort of stealthy kind of characters. And, yeah, her backstory, she would basically, at least in Daggerfall's terms, she would have a phobia to undead. I will try, as long as it's fun. I don't know how, it might be completely unfun to do this, but I'll try to roleplay it so she will basically never use melee if possible, unless in like grave situations against undead, because of the fear, the phobia that she has. And instead will prefer to use ranged or to avoid them completely. Like, I don't know, if there's a dungeon that is full of undead or some kind of quest that's related to undead, she'll avoid it as much as she can. And maybe throughout her career, lifespan, whatever you want to say, she will maybe eventually get over this somewhat. I don't know. I'll have to see how boring that is to actually play with, but I'll try to keep that somewhat, to make it a little bit more interesting here, not just a stealthy assassin, generic kind of crap. Some background stuff, she'd be a worshipper of Zenithar in some degree. She'd be, like, fairly motivated by wealth and riches to some extent, but not, like, to an absurd degree like that's in her entire life, but fairly motivated by that. Likes to coin. She's fairly weak against diseases due to backstory stuff that I made up mostly on the fly, as well as general kind of, undead have a lot of diseases and stuff, so it's like, okay, sure. And I guess her backstory, I have it, sort of scribbled down here. This was like a little bit I tried, and then this is just kind of like bullcrap, this is like a kind of summary of what I was trying to do. But basically the idea is that Sinia Nightlock, who was born of two other wood elf parents, their names don't really matter, I have them there, but I just kind of took them from the wiki and was like, alright, that's good enough. Fairly renowned, well-known magicians in Valenwood. Both of them were of nobility. Sinia by, I guess, I can't think of the word, like by osmosis would be destined for pretty great things, or pretty great things in that kind of sense. Being born of this kind of family, competent magical casting parents of noble blood and such. She was a attractive girl. She had, jet black, night black hair, whatever, dark as the night sky, just like her father. Her father was a master illusionist. Her mother was a renowned practitioner of thaumaturgy, alteration, basically the actual practical, like the, husband and wife, kind of polar opposites. The husband doing illusion, which would be like not real things, like illusory things, creating not things that aren't actually there, you can't interact with, but they deceive, in a way, deceive your senses. But then the mother, the wife, she was more of the actual practical, real manipulation and changing of the world with alteration and that kind of magic. He was very he was very outgoing and such, and the wife was very reserved, quiet and such, like polar opposites. And I didn't really write much stuff for Sinia as her childhood, but besides basically what happened, I don't know. I didn't really think of how to write it, so I was like, okay, let's say Sinia was, I don't know, her dad pissed off some guy when he was doing one of his, like, magician illusion tricks, and he embarrassed him. Then, because of that, the guy was like, you know what, I'm going to get revenge on this guy, or something like that. Something that people wouldn't take seriously, this guy took very seriously. And he said he vowed to take revenge on him somehow. Basically, at some point, I don't know, Sinia, her mother, and her father are in maybe their house or wherever they're staying or some shit. I don't know. And then this guy somehow gets in there. He's a powerful mage. Turns out he's like a necromancer. He brings in his undead forces, to basically murder all three of them, but somehow Sinia gets out of that, but her mother and father are killed. Sinia herself vows to take revenge on this guy, to avenge her parents, and somehow, through cunning and her own skill, she does. She finds this necromancer, sneaks up on him like an assassin would, kills him. Before she does, or something like that, she gets somehow injured by one of his undead minions, like a zombie or something. It, like, greatly wounds her, and she catches, like, some pretty bad disease. And, I don't know, somehow she gets out of that, but then she's actually saved from the brink of death from that disease by some temple. I don't know. I just said Mara. Just some Mara priestess or temple, whatever, save her. And now that she doesn't have any parents and she avenged them, she decides to do a little bit of restoration work, thinks that she's going to be a priestess, but then realizes she doesn't actually like that kind of work. Then, as she grows older, she decides to go out on her own, becomes more of a kind of like a assassin, but she has, from that experience, a great phobia or a great trauma from the undead, but she has experience in killing and murdering effectively at the same time. I don't know. That's the whole deal so far. It's a lot more thought than I put into most characters I've ever built in any of these games, so yeah. So that is Sinia Nightlock. She is going to be the character that I will be playing right now, for this Let's Play at least. So yeah, besides that really long waffle that I doubt anybody found interesting, let's get to it, I guess. I'm going to start a new character. Oh yeah, and one other note before I forget. I will leave in the video description, probably for everyone, just copy and paste it, whatever, the details of what mods that I'm using currently. There's not many mods for Arena that are really out there. So I pretty much have, like, the more basic ones, like the Keybinder one, or the mapper, whatever, key mapper 1, which is like essential to play this game comfortably, I think. A few other ones, like the Eyes of Argonia, or whatever it's called, the one that increases view distance. Yeah, and I'll list them in the description, as well as my settings for DOSBox. I'm currently playing on the Steam version, which it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I could have done any other thing. It would have been the exact same, probably. I wish I almost did, but I was like, screw it. I got Steam already. Just go with it. But I guess the more important thing is I'm using the default settings for the music, which is in MIDI. The sound effects are, I believe, in Sound Blaster. I had to increase from somebody in the Older Scrolls Discord helped me a lot, thankfully, with some of these things. So the music won't get as distorted during certain things like menus and such. And the more important things is I'm playing currently on 60,000 cycles, which is fairly fast, but it's comfortably good, but not being too fast. Even though some of the enemies I've tested this are a little bit too fast, but I think that's apparently always the case in Arena, from what I've been told, so it's like, whatever. But hey, let's start. My class I'm going to be using, after a lot of research, I think Nightblade is basically the one that would fit the most with what I want to do. And not be well, okay, it's not that great, but it's pretty much the best option I think I really have to play the way I want to, I guess, and fit the theme somewhat. So yeah. So Sinia Nightlock. You know what? I have to cut, and I will come back when I get to this point again, because I need to remove some nudity mod I just remembered. So give me a moment. And through the power of editing, we are back with hopefully no nudity. That. Alright, so choose thy gender, female. Where dost thou? Valenwood? Thou hast chosen Valenwood, land of the Wood Elves. Wouldn'tst thy accept this is thy home? Man, if somebody was at a D&D table with this shit, it would get pretty old pretty quick, I think, unless they were real good with that accent cadence. Then thou wilt be known as the Nightblade Sinia Nightlock, who wouldn'tst call Valenwood, land of the Wood Elves, her home. Oh yeah, one other note when I'm typing. If it seems I'm typing really slow, it's because with this key mapping mod, you need to hold down Alt if you want to type stuff, or at least otherwise it gets all screwed up, so it's a little bit awkward. But it's a lot better than playing with screwed up controls without WASD. Know ye this also, that thy race is one with the forest and its creatures, and thy strength flows from the Mother Earth itself. Thou art one with the world. That's great. Too bad it doesn't actually mean much. Apparently they actually get a bonus to their hit every 3 levels, or their damage, which makes like no sense to that descriptor, but okay. Sure. Thanks, Todd. Thy body and mind must be agile and intelligent if thou art to succeed as a Nightblade. Definitely agile. Intelligent, that's true. Go ye now in peace. In peace, yeah, right. Let thy fate be written in the Elder Scrolls. Something that wasn't really written about until later in the series. Alright. Keep in mind the recommendations for, like, chosen class. Alright. So, I can't reduce strength. As far as I know, I can't reduce any stats. I can't dump any stats knowingly. So, I'm just gonna try and get a decent roll. Obviously, the bonus points are the thing you really want to be fairly high, because then you have the most control over it. So, yeah. I'm definitely gonna re-roll this a few times. Remember when I was doing the playtesting with this, I got like 20, so I was pretty happy with that. Unfortunately, I don't seem to be having the same luck here. And I hope at the end of the day, in the recording, the in-game music isn't too loud. I don't think the music cares about your settings until you get in the actual game. Come on. Come on, man. Don't make me edit this out. Okay, since it's not going to cooperate, I'm going to pause this and I will see you in a moment. Okay, didn't take too long. I think I'm happy with 19. At the same time, though, the other rolls were pretty bad. Not gonna lie. Alright. I think some more editing is called for here. Okay. Now, this still probably isn't the greatest, but it's a lot better than that one I saw before. So, I'll just try to even out some of these stats. Just for the sake of OCD and practicality as well, because in this game, stats matter quite a bit more than in some of the other games. Well, yeah, I'll say in the other games, just because the early game, from what I've seen, is pretty challenging. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's not exactly friendly, to say the least. So, I'm definitely going to want to get agility up a lot. And since health increases aren't retroactive, they're pretty important too. Everything's fairly important to some extent. Last point, I've heard luck is kind of a dumb stat. I'll just put it in intelligence, because I'm going to be increasing that a lot as well anyway. Alright. I guess I'm happy with that. Choose the appearance. And that's the one that was closest to what I was looking for.
Do not fear, for it is I, Ria Silmain.
Ria Silmain.
There are no others left to carry on this fight. You have been left in itself to die. Jagrathar, Imperial Battle, Mage of Tamriel, has taken on the guise of the true Emperor. He does not see you as
I'm sure who's ever watching this probably already knows the story generally. If not, have played it themselves. So it's like,
Look to the north wall.
if there's nothing too interesting, I'll probably skip some of these. Even though they're nice,
Take it and make your escape.
they get a little bit old, especially with how messed up the sentence cutting they did with the... such a weird way they did it. But yeah, skip that now, because, yeah, the Imperial seat, blah blah blah, go destroy evil bad guy after collecting things. So, ruby key. First thing I will do is equip myself, and then I will save, which is probably the most important thing that I found in this game, is to save often. Yes, thankfully I'm not naked. Got a dagger, as one would expect. And my spells, which are always hard when you have high cycles to cycle to. Oh yeah, one note about Nightblades is that they do have a interesting bonus where they get certain magic types, more like the support stuff, they get half cost, but continuous damage, I don't know if that counts all damage spells or just a certain type. Like, I don't know if Fire Darts counts or whatever. But it seems like a pretty decent bonus, but also not amazing. Like, half cost on certain utility things that aren't all that useful, I don't think. It's like, but still handy, nevertheless. So yeah, that's all I got. Got that ready. Now, let us turn the music down. In-game, yeah. This is what I had to do. There we go. Oh my god. Got it perfect. Well, kind of. Almost perfect. It's real hard with high cycles. I think that's good enough. I want it to be too drowning out. But let's save over my old test saves. And let's get started in the Imperial Dungeon. I have been told that it is a good idea, because of how easy and predictable the Imperial Dungeon is, to basically do the entire dungeon, which is surprisingly large. And try to get like level 5 before even leaving. Which, after doing that little testing, I honestly can agree with that. But thankfully, these goblins are not too much of a threat. Goblins and rats. And you have all these spots to rest, which is the main boon. What the hell is hitting me? Oh, where the fuck is it? Right here? Oh, yeah. The magic really sucks. Really sucks when you're first level. And I don't know where this rat is. Is this a hidden wall? I think one of these is a hidden wall. Yes. Yes. Well, please let me rest. I've also been told by somebody from the older scrolls, don't use until fully healed if you can avoid it, because when you use it, it actually, there's like a chance, or a much higher chance, or almost guaranteed, or something like that, that you will get your rest interrupted. But you'll get your rest interrupted, and the first tick won't always give you health or something like that. But if you do camp instead, and give a specific time, that won't happen, basically. So it's more effective. So it takes about 7 to 8 hours, like 8 hours in total, to fully restore your mana. So just do 8 hours, pretty much. And then light heal to get the rest of that up, and then screw it, it's free. Rest another 8 hours, why not? Sure. There we go. Now, I will say that honestly, I was surprised at how much fun I was having with Arena initially. And I was like, oh wow, this is surprising. Surprising that this is fairly enjoyable for being so old and on DOS right now. No open arena and such. Damn it. I forgot what point I was trying to make with that. Whatever. Well, we leveled up. Not big surprise. Now, what to increase? It's a surprisingly difficult decision. So right now, agility doesn't matter that much because I'm hitting very often against these enemies. Agility is always going to matter. But I definitely want to heal fast. Healing fast doesn't really matter that much during rest because I have healing spells. But more health per level is going to be pretty damn useful. So I think I'm going to go with endurance just because I could get that health up a little bit higher. So for right now, I'm just going to up endurance a bit. I don't know what happened there. Did I get anything interesting? Actually, I got a staff. I forgot I could use staffs as weapons as a knife blade, so why not? Why not? It's better. Oh wow, that's probably why not. That looks silly. It's kind of interesting, but that looks very obstructive compared to the sword. And I'm pretty sure these rats probably never have treasure, so yeah. Now, one thing that's pretty challenging to figure out initially is the map, I would say. I mean, it's not that hard to understand, but it's like, it's a little bit obtuse, kind of hard to navigate, but hey, that's about as difficult as it is in Daggerfall with its ridiculous 3D maps. I've never went down one of these water passages like this, so I don't know where the heck I'm going. But hopefully it's towards some loot. I love the little rat sprite. Oh, there's some loot there. I don't know if I could have got this easier, but... Kite shield, can't use those, unfortunately. I think this place isn't as big as I thought it was, but I don't know. Really haven't extensively... Well, I don't think I've ever heard that noise here, so that's probably a good sign. Good sign or bad sign. Oh wow. 1 gold piece, thank you. Alright. I think it's time for a rest, why not? 8 hours. Crap. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, buddy. No. Got another buddy around. Can I hit you from here? I've been told that the player has a decent amount more reach than the monsters. And apparently that is true. Oh, come on. Come on. Get out of here, man. Eight hours. Thank you.
I see you have strengthened your arm and your mind. It is time you began
Okay,
this
thank
journey.
you, Rhea
This
Silmain.
is the Staff of Chaos, the one item that can open the
I
door
gotta get the
between
first
this
fragment
world and the
from
dimension to which
Fanglair,
the Emperor has been banished.
which I've never done yet,
Tarn
but
used
I have
this
read
item
about
to
it,
destroy my
because I am
corporeal
a bad
form when I tried to
blind,
warn the council.
I didn't call this
He knew that the
blind, so
staff
this isn't a
of
blind
chaos
Let's
was
Play,
nigh
but
indestructible,
I'm a bad Let's
having been
Player.
made from the essence of the.
But okay, thank you, Rhea. Thank you.
It is said that.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. I like you a lot. So, this is a secret door. Some secret rats. I will jump. Mark. I don't know what any of these things that might be magical are. The longsword I can not use, unfortunately. Plate I cannot use. Ring I can use. Oops. This is probably the worst part. Wow, that's a lot of magical stuff. Holy crap. Well, that is nice at least. I will get some good amount of money when I get into town. At least I should. As well as spend a lot possibly identifying some of these. But yeah, that's honestly one of the worst parts about Arena. Even at this modern time, whatever you want to say, for me, is just the inventory being so clunky. I mean, sure, vanilla Daggerfall wasn't great, but wasn't nearly this bad. But, you know, it could be worse. Could be worse. It's just, it's not great. It's not great. And what are some of these sounds going on, man? Oh, hello. An ambush. Nice try. Oh, also looting. It can be pretty bad feeling trying to loot something. But, yeah, it could be worse. It could be worse. And that's also the other thing I'm probably going to be mentioning later, is that Nightblade, pretty cool. Same problem with the Daggerfall classes, though, with the armor. Having that true to D&D kind of BS system where there's only one type of light armor, one type of medium armor, and then there's the plate that have the multiple enchanted or different types of materials. So as soon as you get the basic leather armor, unless it's going to be enchanted, like with a magical effect, which doesn't increase its defense, you have progressed fully through your armor ratings, which I find very uninteresting, but oh well. Everything else, though, I like about the Nightblade, basically. Their health per level kind of sucks, but, you know, it could be worse. But yeah, that's why I like having the custom classes much more in Daggerfall, personally. I like not having to go with some of those annoying restrictions that they force upon you with the pre-made classes. Even though balance, or nah, it's not really balance. I don't know. I don't like that stuff. I'm not like a loot whore, but I like to have some ability to progress in my protective armor and such, just because it's interesting to look at. It's fun. Not fun when you're left maxed out. Nice try. Wow, that's a lot of rats. Get the hell out of here.